So you make up what the future is. If your present is painful, you can escape to the past and get out of the pressure to change. How many follow this? Say I. Or you can escape to a future because no one knows what it is for sure and you can make it up. But if your brain links it's been painful in the what? Past, in the, and it's even worse in the, you'll change like that. Who here has ever stayed in a relationship that you knew was not right for you? It wasn't right for you, it wasn't right for them. Who has ever stayed in a relationship way too long? Who's done this before? Raise your hand. Say I. It wasn't good for you, it wasn't good for them, yet you stayed. Why? Why? Because even though it's painful in the present, what'd you do? You said, it'll get better over there in the future. Who finally changed? Who here finally changed that? Say I. How'd you do it? Your brain went, it's painful now, it was painful in the past, it's going to be worse in the future, that's it! That's what I call a Dickens pattern. When you lock in pain in all those places, there's no place to escape, so you change. It's like if you put a wall here, and a wall here, and we close them in on you, amazingly, you'll move forward. That's what we're talking about. Giving yourself leverage on yourself that way, not having someone else do it to you, you do it to yourself. That's when you got the power again.
If you look at a business, the chokehold on the growth of any business is always the psychology and the skill set of the leader. And it's 80% psychology and 20% mechanics, meaning so many small businesses, the owner might be an incredible innovator. Maybe they write incredible code. Maybe they're a tremendous influencer, but they don't know the economic side of their business, right? And they find themselves getting in trouble because somebody's giving them financial information after the fact. They don't have true financial intelligence to make decisions, and they get caught up.
Can you give me an example of a business like that? You don't have to name names.
Yeah, no, I'll take my own examples. I had several companies early in my career that went into bankruptcy because I would sit down and I knew how to produce products that would change people's lives. I knew how to market. I knew how to build teams of people. But what I didn't know was finance. So I'd look and say, okay, how are we doing? I go, you got a 20% profit. You got $2 million in profit in those days, little tiny company. And I'd come to the end of the year, there was no cash, right? I didn't know that profit is a theory, right? And so just not having that skill, or someone might be really great in finance, but they're not any good in marketing. So sometimes it's a skill problem, but 80% of it, you can solve those skills. You can get those skills if you can change your psychology. But when you accept that, oh my God, the market's down, or oh my God, the economy in our area is down, when you allow the environment to control your psychology, you're not going to win. I always tell people, I said, tell me your schedule. And they'll go, well, I go to work and I work 9 to 5 and I come home, I'm exhausted. And so, when am I going to start a business? I said, well, what about the other 8-hour shift? Because that's what I did, right? I had to be able to work from 8 to 5 in a normal job, and then I started working as a janitor because I worked my own hours in the middle of the night. But I worked 8 to 5, and literally I'd come home, I'd get a bite to eat, and then I'd start my work at 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m., and I'd go from 6:30 to 2 a.m., and I'd get another 7-8 hours in, and that's how I built everything in the beginning. That's honestly what's required, and to not do that is to cheat yourself, because in the end, what we get will never make us happy. It doesn't matter what you get. Doesn't matter whether it be money or opportunity. All those things might excite you for the moment. Even a relationship, as magnificent it may be, might be exciting for a while. But if you don't keep growing, that relationship isn't going to stay exciting. So the secret to real happiness is progress. Progress equals happiness. And if we can make progress on a regular basis, we feel alive. And that's why at the beginning of the year, we get this thing like, okay, I can have this fresh start. I could really do what my soul desires. I could expand. I could grow. I could improve. I could change. Or maybe better than change, I could progress. See, think about that. Progress is an aliveness to it, doesn't it? You don't have to work at changing. People say all the time, well, I'm working on changing. Don't worry about it. You don't have to work on changing. Change is automatic. Your body's going to change whether you want it or not as the years go by. And no matter how hard you work, there's going to be some changes going on there. The economy is going to change no matter what you want it to do. The weather is going to change. Relationships are going to change. Everything in life is always changing. We don't have to work on change. Change is automatic, but progress is not. So if you want to make real progress, then you really got to look at your life in a different way. You got to say, I got to take control of this process and not just hope it's going to work out like people do who make a resolution. Progress equals happiness. If you're not growing, you're dying inside.
It takes courage to enjoy yourself. What are some of the self-defeating behaviors that we become involved in that prevent most people from enjoying themselves? Some people develop the "what's the use" attitude. Why bother? Some people have the I really don't care. And they convince themselves that they don't care and they don't feel anything. And after a while, they really don't feel anything. Their lives are empty. Some people say, well, it's really not worth the hassle. Just too hard. It doesn't bother me anymore. The fact that I'm not living out my dream. The fact that I'm capable of doing more and I'm not doing it. The fact that I'm content but I'm not fulfilled. The fact that I'm not living my dream. Tom Rusk and Randy Reed in a book called I Want to Change But I Don't Know How said people go through life many times playing it safe. He says that's the secret hope, that they say to themselves, if I never let myself feel too good, maybe I'll never get hurt too badly. A lot of people don't ever do the things they're capable of doing because they allow themselves to go along with the crowd, following the crowd. Many people have things they want to do, and they find themselves in relationships with people who are addicted to mediocrity, and they allow their behavior to influence their behavior. Following the crowd. Many people don't do it because of the fact that they allow their lack of self-confidence to immobilize them. I remember when I wanted to go into business for years, that was an agonizing thought in my mind. I wouldn't try it because I didn't believe that I could make it. Of the 5 things that you would like to do if you had the courage to do, I want you to pick one thing. Pick one. And here's how to set it up for yourself that will help free you and get you unstuck. What is the worst thing that can happen if you do it? What's the worst thing that can happen? Let's say going into business for yourself, or changing careers, or getting a divorce, taking some kind of chance of something that you've always thought about doing, but you just haven't done it for whatever reason. What's the worst thing that can happen? Do the worst case scenario. Now, when you do the worst case scenario, you write those things down, the worst things that you feel would happen. When you name your fears that put you in control, what are you afraid of? Name it, write it out so you can look at it. Confront that fear. What is it? I'm afraid that things might work out. What else, Les? Well, I've never been in business, okay? What else, Les? Well, I don't have all the help I need, okay? Good. What else, Les? Well, I don't have enough money, all right? Good. What else, Les? Well, I don't have a college degree. What else? I'm not as good as those other guys that I've seen up there speaking, okay? What else? Well, that's all I can think of right now, okay? Good. Now that takes you to the next step. What are the benefits? What are the benefits of your acting courageously, taking life on? Well, part of what happened was that I felt better within myself, and I had a strong sense of self-respect. Going into business for myself, I made a lot of mistakes. Sometimes I was down on myself. I felt stupid. I felt dumb because people who were in business said, why would you do something like that? Well, I didn't know. Boy, were you really dumb. And I used to chime in with them. Yes, I guess I was. I didn't know any better. But the other thing is, I had to say to myself, but I did it. I did, even if I made a flop of it, I did it. I took the chance. I took the leap. What are the benefits of your acting courageously? Whatever it is that you've identified. Write the benefits down and then focus on them. Focus on the benefits, not on the liabilities, not on your fears. Focus on the benefits. That which you hold in consciousness tends to manifest itself. Think about how good you feel. Think about the level of increased self-respect, the sense of self-worth that you'll feel. How good you feel getting up in the morning, looking yourself in the mirror, because you're taking life on. The other thing is, acknowledge your fears and then go into action. This book is called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. That's it. See, I believe anybody who's ever done anything, who's ever taken a chance, doesn't mean that they're not afraid. Courageous does not mean being the absence of fear. I think that being courageous is willing to do it because that's what you feel, and you're going to do it anyhow, regardless. So you're not going to be immobilized by your fears or your doubts. You admit, okay, I'm scared to death. Now, okay, what is it that I must choose to do? Go ahead and experience that fear, but don't let that fear immobilize you. In what you've done with your life thus far, is it giving you what you want? Is it giving you what you want? When you look toward the future, when you look at all that's going on out here, is there some place within yourself you say, hey, I know I need to be out there in that arena. I know I can do more than what I've been doing. I know there's some great music that I have within me that I haven't brought out here yet. Is that something that you begin to look at within yourself?
Life is not just a passing of time. Life is a collection of experiences, their intensity and their frequency. Here's what else your game plan must include: your lifestyle. Here's where we plan to go. If you don't put it on the calendar, if you keep doing it like I used to do years ago, called someday. Here was the other one: as soon as. See, that means almost nothing. I tell my girls, as soon as they knew this wasn't, probably never. As soon as we get ahead, as soon as we get a little extra money, as soon as, there's a lot of things you cannot wait till as soon as. You got to work them in to your game plan. And just commit yourself to both the lifestyle and the business activity and your career. Career, lifestyle, family, spirituality, health, all that's important in your game plan. And here's what's difficult: to try to keep it all in your head. Because the head is full of good intentions. The head is full of hope. Oh, it's going to work. As soon as we get this paid off, it's going to work. Say, no, let's put it on the game plan. Right? I talked this morning, right? Someone says, I got my to be debt-free worked out. I've been working on it a year and a half, and within a couple of years, it'll all be done. Oh, nothing. My father said that to me. Let's get a plan for you to be debt-free, debt-free, debt-free. Because Papa said, there's nothing like the freedom of no one having a claim on your assets. I said, well, I want to get there someday. I remember the day I crossed the line, debt-free. My parents left me their estate in Idaho. Guess how many debts? 0. Nothing. Not the automobiles, not the farm, not the land, not the house, not the properties, nothing. 0. Isn't that a bit unusual? But isn't that a bit exciting? Unbelievable for somebody to have that kind of unique consistency in their plan, wanting to leave it debt-free. Don't have to worry. It's incredible. So, you work on a plan for debt-free. You work on a plan for your investments. You get a game plan that'll work for you so that all the bases are covered and the balance is right. Yes, it's going to get out of balance. When you're balancing your time, here's what you must remember. Sometimes you must work around the clock like spring. Round the clock. Why? It's springtime. So a lot of things have to be set aside till the spring is finished or until the harvest is in. Because you can't postpone the harvest while you do some fun things. You got to do the harvest and then some fun things.
Your biggest enemy, the most important conversation you will ever have in your life is the one you have with yourself. You wake up with it, you walk around with it, you go to bed with it. Eventually, you're going to act on it, whether you're good or bad. You have to. That's why the whole thing about this book I have is about you. It is about you. is strictly about you finding who you are. So many people die, live 100 years. Never know who they are. Never know who they are. You have to look in that mirror and know there's so much more in here, man. Because I can literally right now be a 300-pound guy spraying for cockroaches still to this day if I did not look in that mirror and say, there has to be more to this. This can't be it. And then willing to go into it, dive deep into it, and give all I have to find it.
The law of Goya is simply get off your ass. So if you think and you believe and you emotionalize, you visualize, and you create your plan for how am I actually going to achieve this? So what do I need to do? When am I going to do it? How specifically? How am I going to tweak it, measure it, and iterate it so that I'm consistently making progress? I learned the value of progress versus perfection. None of my mentors ever had me focus on perfection. They had me focus on progress to just keep getting better. Little incremental gains every day, every week, every month, every quarter. And even when you move backwards a couple of steps, what's the progress that you made in what you learned? So I was taught that failure is an opportunity to learn. And I was also taught to disassociate me being a failure from failing.